The men of speed, hard, intense, and fast. From all over the world, they gather annually in a sleepy Central Florida town called Sebring for the premier sports car race in the United States, the 12-hour Sebring Grand Prix of Endurance. Sebring has a flair and distinction all its own. The world's racing greats from 14 countries annually splash this quiet citrus belt town with the color and panoply of a coronation. But in this case, several crowns are to be awarded. For Sebring is many races in one, 26 class races, in fact, in 3 divisions. Prototypes, cars designed as forerunners of future racers. Ford Mark IIs, Ferrari P3s, 180-mile-an-hour Prousts. Sports prototypes, at least 50 of the same car must have been manufactured in this division. Ford GTs, Porsche 904s, Triumphs, top speeds in the middle hundreds. Grand Touring, closest to a normal street machine. MGs, Porsches, Stingrays, passenger car gone racing. The route to the throne is arduous and exhausting. 12 hours round and round over 5.2 miles of airport runway and blacktop. It's not easy.
Very, very difficult. It's just a grind, hard grind, brakes and engine all the time. There's a lot of places where you get up to very high speeds, and then you're breaking down to just 5 miles an hour virtually. And this is very, very difficult. The brakes get up 1,800 degrees in temperature.
The first 2 bends past the pits are very difficult because they're the fastest corners on the circuit. And fast corners are always tricky.
I think at night time it's particularly difficult to find the apex of the corner, especially with these rubber cones, because you suddenly you line up on one of them and the next lap you come around, somebody's clouded it and it's not there anymore. You can find yourself in difficulty.
And this course is probably the most challenging in the world, including Le Mans. I think Le Mans is easier than Sebring. The surface is so rough, the cars get taxed, the drivers get taxed a great deal more here than anywhere else in the world.
Oh, it's tiring. You know, there's not an awful lot of rest here. You know, you're working pretty darn hard. A lot of hard braking and all that sort of stuff.
Our trackside experts, National Speed Sports News editor Chris Economaki and former U.S. road racing champ Bob Holbert.
Bob's logged over 10,000 miles on this course, winning 6 class victories in 7 years, driving everything from Porsches to Shelby Cobras. Bob, what does it take to win?
Well, Chris, first of all, it takes a good car and it takes a good driver. The driver has to know the capabilities of his car and himself, and he has to be able to set a 12-hour pace that he can maintain. It takes pit work and it takes teamwork. We have a team and a team manager, and most important of all, it takes good strategy planning by the team manager and the team.
The team concept is much in evidence. Ford's 6-car factory team is shooting for the championship. Stock vehicle manager John Crowley determines strategy.
Will you assign lap times to your men?
Yes, they will have lap times.
Can you tell us who your rabbits will be and who your steady boys will be?
Well, I think we'll have Dan Gurney out front. He set a new qualifying record, and he's got a car with a lot of potential, and we'll have him out front.
How about behind him? Who's going to be the slow one?
Well, we'll probably keep A.J. Foyt and the second 4.7-liter car back and let Graham Hill go out front, too.
Ferrari development engineer Mike Parks will co-drive with Bob Bondurant, the only factory Ferrari prototype entered. The V12 Ferrari P3. Parks planned the race.
Well, of course, it's a very difficult problem coming here with one car only, because you can play it several ways. But our aim is to finish the race, and I shall have to play it very much by ear, depending on how the other cars run.
Would you pick a lap time and try and stay with it, Mike?
Well, we probably will, yes. Based on previous years, I've done a little sum, and it looks as though one ought to go at about 3 minutes 3 on every lap to win the race outright.
Last year's winner, Jim Hall's automatic transmission Chaparral, is a new car this year. Coupe-bodied and heavier. All strategy.
We've had a little problems during practice. We don't quite know how competitive the cars are going to be, so we're really going to have to make it up as we go. I think the 427 Fords are a little faster than we are, so we'll kind of string along with them and see what happens.
Will you assign lap times to the two cars?
Possibly after a couple hours running. We'll just have to see how quick the cars get.
Now the teams put their planning and strategy to the ultimate test. The aspirants to the crown move with anxious ease through the last minutes. Jim Hall's defending champion Chaparral, heavier and ill-prepared compared to last year's winner, will have a tough time against the massive, impressive Ford prototype entry and the very fast, traditionally reliable Ferrari prototype. In the smaller engine cars, the Porsche Carrera 6s face formidable opposition in their first meeting with a Dino Ferrari. In a moment, they'll put car, strategy, and raw courage on the line. Sebring, Florida, moments before the race for the crown. Fastest qualifiers to slowest are ready to get on with it, and so are their fans. Only seconds now as 64 drivers face their cars on tiptoe. And the sprint is on, the slowest moment of the race. It's a Ferrari, first away. Gurney appears to be stalled, the rest of the field racing away. Amazingly enough, it's the smaller engine Dino Ferrari leading the pack. And through the dangerous S's, the Dino's still in front, chased by Graham Hill's lightweight Ford GT. A frantic Gurney still trying to get started, his handicap growing every second. Now Graham Hill's more powerful Ford GT has passed the Dino Ferrari, the Rodriguez Andretti car third through Webster turn. Gurney's off, but a half lap down. He'll have to move. Minor trouble on the turn. Through the hay bale spins the Whitesis Fisher Ford GT, but everything's okay. A Goodyear blimps eye view of the warehouse straight as Dan Gurney's blue Ford prototype turns it on. In front as they complete lap one, Graham Hill's Ford GT. Mike Parks takes second. Dan Gurney's going like a rocket. Fastest qualifier at 107 miles an hour. His troublesome start put him 63 cars down. An enormous handicap for the car Ford planned to lead the race. Timers clock Gurney at 2 minutes, 54 and 8 tenths. An absolute course record, better than 107 miles per hour. He's moving. Meantime, the Ferraris have captured the front ranks. But Gurney looks like he means business. And Chris Economaki gets word on Ford's plans now.
The number 2 car had difficulty in starting, Chris. They finally got it underway. I don't know whether Dan flooded it or what happened, but it's going now, and I think you'll see him come up through the pack.
What does this do to your planned strategy?
We'll still bring Gurney to the front, we hope.
Gurney's advanced to 7th in just 15 laps. He's averaging 105 miles per hour. The trouble-plagued Chaparral team pits its number 12 car. This one was losing oil all through practice, and it looks like that's still the trouble for the defending champion. 2 quarts this time, and the race barely started. That oil-stained rear deck, mute testimony to the trouble. Joe Bonier's back out, but their chances are not good. Parks holds a 22-second lead over Ken Miles. Miles has skillfully and quickly captured second. Gurney's been relentless. He's now third and moving. Parks' lead is steadily whittled away down to 18 seconds, and Miles is counting. Team manager Carol Shelby keeps a paternal eye on the situation, tells Ken Miles to lower his lap times and catch Parks. Gurney, too, is keeping the pressure on Parks. Slottig's Ferrari is a bit wide in the hairpin, only damage to his ego. It's neck and neck now. Parks, Miles, Gurney close enough to cover with a blanket as they roar through the Webster. More trouble for the Chaparrals. There's word from the other end of the pits that both Chaparrals are in. and probably out of the race. Let's get the word from team driver and co-developer Hepshaw.
Well, we don't seem to be able to build a closed car as well as we did the open cars that we campaigned here last year. The additional weight of the prototype car, which is required by the rules, and everything we have is designed for a lightweight automobile. We didn't think we'd be fast enough, but we thought we had our durability problems licked.
A bitter disappointment for designer driver Jim Hall and the Chaparral team. Winners here last year, the Texas Roadrunners seemed restricted by the new international weight regulations. Let's get the word from Jim Hall.
Jim, it must be a big disappointment for you. What knocked out the car?
Well, separate things, Chris. We had engine trouble on one of them and suspension trouble on the other.
Jim, before the trouble set in, were you satisfied with the performance of the cars against the competition?
Yes, we were. The cars, I think they're competitive in lap speeds, both here and Daytona. This is a long race, and we were satisfied with the speed we were running.
The Porsche Carrera 6s are impressively fast. The Minter Class number 53 overtakes its factory twin, driven by Buzetta and Herman. And now the Rabbits in second place. Gurney has passed Miles and shoots for Parks and the lead. Second place Gurney and third place Miles are both hard on Parks' Ferrari. And doing some fun racing between themselves. Team manager Carroll Shelby doesn't want any hijinks this early and tells them to separate. Parks, keeping to his pre-race plan, is still first, but losing steadily to Gurney. The Rodriguez Ferrari in fourth makes the order now. Ferrari, Ford, Ford, Ferrari. Miles pits the third-place car with co-driver Ruby awaiting the call. Obviously elated with his position, Miles indicates the car's running sweetly. The apparent strategy to keep Miles and Ruby in contention is working well now. Ruby's ready to be off, but no start. Shelby wonders if it's a repeat of Gurney's problem. An old Indianapolis trick. Gas right into the carburetor, gets the 97-liter Ford cooking, and Ruby's off to the fray. And what a fray. Parks has surrendered first to Gurney. He's now down more than a minute, but still driving a steady 3-minute lap despite the runaway Fords. And Gurney's a runaway first at last. It took him just 25 laps to pass all 63 opponents. Ruby's settling in at third according to plan.
Triumph and tragedy shared the 66 12 Hours of Sebring. In 25 laps, Dan Gurney passed 63 cars and took the lead. But in late afternoon, Bob McLean flipped his Ford GT40 and was killed. And after nightfall, Don Wester collided with the crippled Ferrari of Mario Andretti and went off course, killing 4 spectators who were in an unauthorized area. As we rejoin the action, Gurney leads, the Ferrari pits.
Parks pits the prototype Ferrari for Bondurant to relieve him. The giant 4 overhead cam V12 engine working superbly, keeping Parks well up in the standings. Gas, rear tires, and a quick check all around, and Bondurant takes the controls. Let's hear from Parks on strategy at this point.
Everything going well, Mike?
Beautifully. Car going absolutely superbly, yes. No trouble at all.
With the chaparrals out, did you alter your strategy any?
Well, I still stick to what I said earlier. The car which will win the race will be a car which laps consistently in 3 minutes 2, 3 minutes 3, which is what we're doing.
How far ahead will you allow the Fords to get?
Well, up to a lap.
Up front, the Parks Bondurant Ferrari in third draws a bead on the Miles Ruby second placer and the Gurney Grant Ford hold first. But they're all on the same lap. Amazing for this late in the race. The dangerous hours approach. Dusk lends an eerie quality to the scene as drivers adjust to the tense nighttime driving hours. There's a report the Parks Bondurant Ferrari is out. Bondurant abandoned the car on the track. Let's find out from Mike Parks.
Mike, it's very unusual for a leading Ferrari to go out at Sebring. What happened?
Well, it was quite a surprise to me, too, actually, because we usually try and make our cars to last. Actually, the car lost second gear, and from then on, it just got rather difficult to change gear. And finally got stuck in one gear, and Bob couldn't drive it anymore.
The demise of the third-place Parks Bondurant Ferrari gives Ford clear sailing. Only the Andretti Rodriguez Ferrari near the top, and then the Walt Hanskin Mark Donohue Ford, followed by the Scott Revson Ford. The third-place Rodriguez Andretti Ferrari is in and damaged. Andretti's car was one of those involved at the Webster. From the looks of things, they're going to have trouble getting him out again. But Andretti's getting back in. They're trying to give him some light, but it doesn't look good. Fire, quickly out. But that should do it for the only Ferrari capable of challenging the Fords. A disconsolate Pedro Rodriguez looks on. Let's get down to Chris Economaki and a word with Andretti.
Another of the Ferrari cars having trouble. Mario, you brought the car in with the front end damage. What happened out there?
The gearbox selector broke, and I tried to shift into third from fourth, and I went into first, locked the rear wheels, and hit I think it was a sandbank, and knocked all the lights out.
In the pits, meantime, Dan Gurney and Ken Miles wait to take their cars out for the final laps. The Gurney Grant car still leading, Miles Ruby second. Here's Ruby bringing the Ford prototype in to hand over to teammate Miles. They've driven a great race following their 24-hour win at Daytona, but it looks like second at Sebring. Team manager Shelby, with his cars first and second, has a word of caution. Wants no last-minute errors. And now Gurney's car arrives. Jerry Grant ready to turn it over to his partner. This will be the first major endurance triumph for the Gurney-Grant duo. Especially welcome to the hard-luck-plagued Dan Gurney. Only laps left now as 10 o'clock approaches. And Dan Gurney pulls out on the final laps to the crown. He has only to keep his car under wraps and out of trouble for a few more laps, and his first Sebring victory is a reality. And there's the flag on the stroke of 10. Gurney should be coming by any moment to take the checker. No, he's pushing his car. Gurney apparently stalled on the track and is risking disqualification for pushing the car across the line. An unbelievable development at the last instant, and Gurney is robbed of victory. We don't know what happened at this point, but Miles is driving into victory lane to accept the crown, the apparent winner of this action-filled classic. And obviously elated but surprised, Miles enjoys the victory lane hubbub, while everyone wonders what happened to Gurney. Provisional results show him second, Walt Hanskin third, Skip Scott fourth, First Sports, 4 Porsches in the top 10, Winterstein Moore Stingray First GT. Victory Lane and the Gurney story after this word.
Ken Miles and Lloyd Ruby, and of course the Beauty Queens. Ken Miles, are you as surprised as we are?
I'm slightly ashamed.
Well, it was a big day for Ford, wasn't it?
It was a good day for Ford. I'm very happy with the Ford Motor Company. I'm very sorry indeed for Dan. He really deserved to win the race. He drove a beautiful race, and I'm sorry that something happened at the last minute.
How did Lloyd go for you? This is your third big long-distance win together, isn't it?
I like Lloyd.
What's next for you?
Le Mans.
How about the strategy, Ken? Did you stay with your plan throughout the day?
Yeah, we just drove it the way we felt the car should go.
Did you feel that? Did you taste that P3 Ferrari much?
No trouble.
No trouble?
No.
Let me have a word with Lloyd Ruby over here. Congratulations, Lloyd. Are you as surprised as we are?
We really are. I mean, I was already cleaned up and everything. I thought we had second made, and then you never know on them last laps.
That's right. Well, continued good luck to you all.
First sports category, the Essex Wire 4 GT, driven beautifully by Skip Scott and Doug Revson. First under 2-liter prototype, the very swift Porsche Carrera 6, driven by Joe Buzetta and Hans Hermann. Grand Touring, the Roger Penske-entered Stingray, driven by George Winterstein and Ben Moore. Now, let's get the word on Gurney.
Dan, it seems like I'm always asking you what happened.
Well, she quit.
Engine trouble?
I believe so.
How long did you push it?
Oh, probably almost a quarter mile. About a quarter mile.
It's got to get better, doesn't it?
Gurney disqualified, but nevertheless, he set an overall track record of 2:54.8. Miles' race speed was 98.8 miles per hour, a new record, and in all, it was a record-shattering day for more than 60,000 at the 16th Sebring Grand Prix of Endurance.